I'm so glad you're here. Let's start. Well, hello. It's Julie Halston from Virtual Halston. Yes, season 2, episode 13. Time is flying by and standing still because we're still in a global pandemic. But we're here, we're together. It's fantastic that we're together. I've been getting so many comments this past week about the Penis Museum in Reykjavik, Iceland. Apparently, that was a very big topic of conversation this week. And I have a feeling that when the pandemic is over, there'll be a big run-up on tourism to Reykjavik. It's only 4.5 hours from New York City. I know that Brooks Ashmanskas has already booked. It really does exist, and it really is the strangest museum you'll ever go to. I am so excited about today's show, and I know a lot of people out there, particularly from the Broadway world, are excited because of my guests today, Jesse Tyler Ferguson and Justin Makita. I think you know who they are. If you don't, maybe you're living at the Penis Museum in Reykjavik. I don't know. Anyway, I want to thank, of course, all our viewers. And if any of my former members from the TV show The Class are watching, hello. And Jerry Webb, thank you. So happy to see you. Velvet Queen, thank you. Jerry Webb is a wonderful woman that we do some charity work together. And, well, what can I say? You know, New York's best host and impresario and my partner in crime and one of my dearest friends is also with us today. So let's just bring him in. Come on in, Jim Caruso. There you are.
I'm just glad you didn't kind of equate me with the Velvet Queen line. That would have been irksome. Irksome.
Well, actually, you know, what I forgot to say though, Jim, and we'll be talking more about this, is you're wearing a bow tie.
I am. Well, I'm wearing a bow tie for our guests today because they are known for creating that wonderful line of ties. This is not one of theirs, but you know, it's the thought that counts.
But I think you and I really kind of match up. I think it's wonderful.
We do. Yeah. Do you have any? I have little green turtles on my. I'm not sure why, on my tie, but it's a blue. We're doing a blue and green story.
Doing a blue, and you know what? In honor of Jesse and Justin's politics, go blue, people. Let's go blue. We like that. We like that. Now, darling, you were really, really busy very recently because of our big Birdland extravaganza. Can you tell us, first of all, how much money was raised?
Yeah. Well, as some of you might not know, that Julie and I both have worked at a club here in New York called Birdland, which is an iconic jazz club randomly, yet they hired us 18 years ago.
Yeah, because I'm known for my alto sax. Actually, I am known for my alto, but not my sax.
Yeah, no. Anyway, Birdland is an incredible music room on 44th Street in the Theater District, and I've been booking there. I'm one of the bookers, and I've hosted my cast party there for 18 years. So with all of the shutdowns and everything, the room was really in trouble, and it looked kind of not good. The owner called me and he said, I don't know how much longer I can pay this exorbitant rent, all the expenses that go with having two spaces, the Birdland and the Birdland Theater in Midtown, and be making no money. We might, after 35 years in that space, have to call it quits. And of course, my heart just sank because, first of all, it's my living, but it's an iconic space. There's been a Birdland in New York for 71 years. So
well, I can just speaking for the Broadway community, you also do something called Broadway at Birdland. Right. And that's when I've performed many times. Even when I'm doing a Broadway show on a Monday night,
Right.
I love to step on that Birdland stage and do my one-woman show, and I do it for the Broadway community or the comedy community. It's always, dare I say, a sellout. It's an exciting evening. We have so much fun, and we get to work on material that we might not otherwise be able to work on. It's fantastic.
It's a great room, and it's always a great audience. And I've been able to book some of our most beloved friends there. And anyway, so I was speaking to our mutual friend, Susie Mosier, and she said, you should talk to Tom and Michael Dangora, who did the big GoFundMe for West Bank Cafe in December. So I did, and they suggested doing a GoFundMe. And then they also produced this extraordinary show this last Sunday that was so star-studded. It was not just the jazz and Broadway and cabaret community. It was Sting and Bill Clinton and Kermit the Frog. And it was fantastic. Whoopi Goldberg. So that all happened. The GoFundMe is now at over $400,000. So it's just an extraordinary thing that so many people have been so generous and so loving, and our community, as you know, is just the best.
It really is the best. It's really quite a treasure, and I was so happy to be part of it because, you know, Birdland is my second home, and I was asked to make a video, and I actually think we're going to share it with you now.
Not only do I think we are. We are.
Oh, we are. So here we go. Here's my little bit. Hi, everyone. It's Julie Halston, just sitting around and musing about Birdland. Birdland is like my second home. It represents everything about New York that I love. Artistry, glamour, and community. And you know, there is nothing more exciting to me than being on the Birdland stage and imparting the words of wisdom from Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford lived in New York before she went to Hollywood, and she understood how exciting and wonderful New York could be. So again, I impart these words of wisdom from Joan to you today. My life in New York was complete. I was dancing, and that was the main thing. And oh, yes, we had stage door Johnnies. Oh, yes, we had good times. They knew how to treat a girl right. So why think about Hollywood? It sounded to me like another tank town, and I'd had enough of those. And the money wasn't bad. In those days in New York, food and rent didn't eat up all your dough, so there was some left over for nice clothes. And there was a certain excitement just being in a theater or a nightclub. It didn't seem to matter whether you were legit, vaudeville, or burlesque. People gave you special treatment. There was an excitement, a respect. Seems to be gone today. I mean, there were boarding houses that would let us stay there on the cuff when we were out of work. And the men dated us, expected to spend money on us. And there was no bad scene if we didn't live up to their expectations. Candy, flowers, great dinners, even furs. We got 'em all in New York. Well, we may not have stage door Johnnies, but we have Gianni. And that's enough for us. Please support Birdland. It's everything we love about New York.
We should explain that Gianni is the owner of Birdland.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not. We might not have stage door Johnnies, but we have Gianni.
I just like the sincerity with which you read Joan.
Well,
truly,
you know, Joan
truly.
is my idol.
I know she is.
You know, I mean, the Bible is my way of life. I mean, she was an alcoholic monster, but is that so terrible? I mean, was it so terrible? Anyway, I have to say I was so glad to be a part of the Birdland situation, and I'm so glad. It really looks like we really are going to have Birdland. It's going to come back, and but this week as our viewers know, we are going back to giving our money to the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation, which is the foundation near and dear to my heart. Thank you so much. Our PayPal and Venmo, if you can tip us, that helps us so much. It pays for all our platforms. And of course, every week I do give a portion to the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation. And Jim and I will be having much more exciting news about the PFF soon enough, but and Virtual Halston. But right now, we're gonna just, keep doing this week by week. Now, let's bring Ruby in. I think people want to see our tech director.
Oh, Ruby.
Oh, Jim.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
Darling. How are you? Darling, last week we didn't get, because we were so involved with the Penis Museum.
Yes.
We never got a chance. I'm saying it again. I just like saying the word penis. We never got to see your apartment, your new domicile.
Yes, because I'm finally settled. A couch update, still don't have a couch, but we moved.
Okay.
And, that's what matters. So, Julie, I wanted to just put together some art for you. Show two of my favorite features of my new apartment. So here we have the shower.
Yes.
And the kitchen.
Oh.
I love that she's doing this like kabuki, sort of kabuki-esque or something.
I wanted to just,
It's a little Vanna White. It's a little.
Yeah.
It's the Dream Ballet in King and I.
Yes. It's artfully done. It's very artful.
Thank you.
Yes, any moment now, a string of very beautiful Thai children will be coming out of her. Didn't you say the king and I? Is that Tuttum and the children? I don't. No.
That's the March of the Siamese Children, Julie. It's before they were Thai. They were Siamese. Pre-Thai.
No, we're going to be kicked off YouTube. I know it. And we're not even going to get to poor Jesse and Justin. We're just going to be kicked off.
They left. They left, unfortunately. They said they had to go.
I don't see them backstage, Julie. Actually, what I came on to tell you is me and Jim are going to have to put on some wigs and just make magic.
Oh, okay. Now, wait, Ruby, you are going to be interviewed because Ruby is a superstar, as you know, Jim. She's a superstar.
I do know that.
She's going to be interviewed by my dear friend, Sandy Klein, who worked with Ralph Howard, my late husband, at 1010 Wins. She has an extraordinary blog about, it's all for women. And Ruby is an exceptional woman. And when do you do that, Ruby?
I have my interview on Tuesday, which is really exciting. I always, it's funny, ever since the pandemic, I've been, more so behind the camera or, just kind of operating everything. So it's always, so nice to just be asked to, be a part of an interview or a virtual event where I'm not, pressing the big buttons, as I like to say. So I'm very excited.
Well, there you are, ladies and gentlemen, and anyone else, or however you identify. I mean, there she is, our superstar. She's young, she's beautiful, she's taken over the world. Bye, Ruby.
Bye.
It's pressing the big buttons.
She's too much. You've created a monster, darling. You've created a monster.
I know. She produces your show. She produces my show.
She's an award winner.
She did win an award.
She won an award. I am like a 5-time drama desk loser. I can't even win an award for my own show, but she won an award for my show.
Julie, don't be bitter in front of the people. It's beneath you.
And you know what? I couldn't be more thrilled. It's so fantastic. Can I get an "Oh Ruby" T-shirt, please? Oh, Libby, how much do we love Libby?
Libby can have whatever she wants.
Libby can have whatever she
everything
wants.
We do.
Exactly. No, I'm a little obsessed.
Okay,
Libby
I'm going to say this right now.
Lambert.
No, here's what I'm going to say. At some point, you have to have Libby on the show because she is a great guest. First of all, she was a nightclub owner in Atlanta, Georgia. She's a fantastic singer. So let's just say we should do a show of some of our favorite audience members. That would be fun.
And friends. Let's do it.
That sounds like a Rosie O'Donnell theme, but
yeah. No, we're in.
She's not doing it, so let's do it.
Yeah, no, we'll do it.
Remember when Rosie had a whole audience of people named Rosie O'Donnell?
I do.
That was funny. That was
No.
funny.
Let's do that. It's a great idea. It's wonderful.
Done.
Yeah. All right, done. Well, now, darling, I think we're going to bring on our guests.
I love these guys. I love these guys.
Yeah.
They're like, it's like a power couple.
They are a power couple, but here's the thing. Power couples can be tricky. As I know, what do I know? But I guess powerful people can be tricky. These are two of the nicest human beings in the world. I've known Jesse for quite a long time through the theater world. And then, of course, we did the class together. He's just an unfailingly fabulous human being and a super talent. I met Justin. I remember when Jesse said to me that he was falling for this guy named Justin. I was like, he's not an actor, is he? I was so horrified that he might be an actor because that would not go well. I'm sorry. And he was like, I think I might ask him to marry me. I'm not joking. I remember this conversation. Anyway, they did get married. I was at the wedding. It was so superior. They're superior people. You might know Jesse from Modern Family. You might know him from the theater. You might know Justin from the American Foundation of Equal Rights as a lawyer, as an activist. There's so much about these two people. Let's bring them on, and they've just become new parents. Jesse Tyler Ferguson and Justin Makita, where are you?
Hi. Wait, do you also know that Justin has a Tony Award?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Justin decided he was going to start producing theater, and the very first thing out of the gate was the revival of Oklahoma. Torch Song Trilogy. Then Oklahoma, which he won a Tony for, and then he just produced The Inheritance, which he got another Tony nomination for,
and a Drama Desk,
and a Drama Desk Award,
which I won.
So, Julie, I hear you. I've been in this business for 30 years. I have never been nominated for a Tony Award, and this bitch, first out of the gate, boom, wins a Tony.
And you know what? It's also so fucking annoying. Besides the fact that you're, a Tony winner now, Justin. Okay, lawyer, activist, you have your own this and foundation. You also have been winning these for things that are art. It's not like, you know what I mean? I won a Tony Award for a show about, I don't know, roller skating or something. Do you know what I mean? The Inheritance. Right? Oklahoma.
Yeah. I mean, the Oklahoma revival was being on the stage for the Tonys, especially now with everything that's going on and the fact that we haven't had a Tonys. It was the most magical experience of my life. I grew up watching the Tonys. I'm a theater kid, so I was just, my face was like this. I could not believe I was standing on the Tony stage.
I think that is so great.
I stayed in my chair. He was on the aisle. When I get nominated, I've been nominated for some Emmys, and I'm always on the aisle just in case you win. I was inside the aisle. He was on the. He was.
Yeah, no. Jesse, you're a little over. You're a little over. Okay. You're a little over. No, can I tell you my Oklahoma story? And I'll try to be quick. This obviously before the pandemic, I was coming out of somewhere. It was I was coming out of Tootsie or something. And it was right during Tootsie. And I was going home. I guess it was a Sunday maybe. And I had finished doing Tootsie. I was racing home. Who do I see but Ted Chapin? Also, of course, he's Ted Chapin from Rodgers and Hammerstein State, also involved with Oklahoma. He's racing up 8th Avenue. I said, Ted Chapin, where are you going so fast? What's happening? What's going on? He goes, it's the final performance of Oklahoma. I said, oh, man, I never got a chance to see it because, we're on the same schedule. I just got out of my matinee. And he said, I have an extra ticket. You're coming with me right now. And I got to see the final performance of Oklahoma sitting in the house seat. I cried from the second it started.
So special.
To the very end.
Yeah.
I just cried. And the same with The Inheritance. I sat with Tom Viola, and from the start to finish, I just cried.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, it's all about Justin Makeda. All right. Now listen, guys. First of all, I want to know how you're doing. I know I was actually, because I love to drop names, I was on the phone with Annalee Ashford the other night, and she was saying LA it's pretty difficult. It's pretty
I just also dropping names. Scott Ellis came over the other day for coffee, and he's directing Annalee's show.
Yes.
So that's why he was in town. But it's been tricky. They actually just announced on Monday that they're reopening outdoor dining here in California. So that's been shut down since November. Our numbers have not been great, but we're doing a little bit better now.
Okay.
But yeah, it's you know, every city has its own challenges. You know, we are lucky living in LA that the weather's nice enough to eat outside and not be. I see these photos of people in New York eating in these little igloos, completely covered in scarves and jackets and furs, like just shivering and cutting their meats. It's just like, oh my God.
No, it's like outtakes of Dr. Zhivago.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. And you kind of think like, I know you really want to be doing this, but like, are you enjoying this? I mean, how could this be enjoyable? It would actually be easier if you were actually in each other's apartment and you can just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. I did get the shot.
You did? Good.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
I'm 100 years old. So I got the shot. So I get my second shot on February 15th. And then I also just went to my doctor recently and I thought, oh, well, I'm so crazy. I'm sure my cholesterol is way up and my blood sugar is whatever. The good news, this is what my doctor, he said, the good news is you're in perfect health. The bad news is you're in perfect health. You know, I have to keep going. I have to keep going. So
our parents have gotten the shot as well.
Yeah.
Well, your mom.
Yeah.
And my parents got their first one, which is such a relief.
Yeah.
It is, I must tell you, it's a thrill. It really is. And the card they give you for your second shot, I told this to Charles Bush, again, dropping names. I said, save that card forever because this is a piece of history.
Yeah.
For sure.
This is a piece of history. Now, speaking of history, again, Jesse, because we'll get to you. Justin, we have a new administration. This is hopeful. I mean, it's scary about what's going on. I get very nervous because, I mean, I hear the name Marjorie Taylor Greene and my head is exploding. But do you think ultimately you may run for a political office?
I don't think so. I feel like in the past 4 years, especially, I've had this awakening where I am just too emotional about politics. And you can confirm this. Like, I just, for the past 4 years, COVID especially, but like, it's just been really devastating. I wake up nearly in tears, if not sporadic tears throughout the day, just like with every stroke of Trump's pen or whatever horrible thing he did that hour. It just really, it affects me so deeply that I just don't know that I can stomach it. I would die. I would just, so I just feel like I have to be an activist in my ways, but then also protect myself. And, part of that is with COVID, like I stepped away from the internet a bit. Like I stepped back, I couldn't look at it. I couldn't engage as much because it's just it just breaks my heart constantly. So I think that precludes me from being able to be in politics. I would be so emotional all the time.
Well, you might also have to remember you have many Tony Awards to win.
Yeah.
You have more Tonys to win.
It's like Cynthia Nixon. She's just running for office and then also doing like every play in the revival of Sex and the City.
It's like I'll be part of Ryan Murphy's stable.
Yeah.
I'll run for governor. I'm going to change the school board, and then I'll just do, guest spots. It's like, are you ever home? Are you ever home? What's going on? Now, darling, Jesse, let's just take a little bit of a walk down memory lane.
Yeah.
I will never forget because, again, I think I was working and I remember I don't even know if I was married to Ralph at this point, but we were certainly living together. He came home, he had a playbill in his hand, and he said, he just saw On the Town, and he said, I've just seen the next big Broadway star. And I said, oh my God, who's that? He said, he has red hair and 3 names. And I said, that's not promising. That's not promising. And he said, no. And I remember he opened up the playbill because he couldn't remember exactly.
Yeah.
And he said, here he is. And I looked at you and I said, Jesse Tyler Ferguson. I said, well, I guess you think he's great. He said, Julie, he's the next big Broadway star. And of course, Ralph was so smart and savvy, and he knew. Yeah. And of course, that's what happened. I think we have a picture of you from On the Town. There you are.
With our good friend Leah.
Where's Leah?
Look at those cuties.
Look at you. That was so great. And
21 years old.
Yeah, and then you did a lot of theater. I mean, obviously, and but I think the thing that I found so interesting as I was doing research is you worked for Cliff's Amusement Park.
Yes. Oh my God! Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that. Now it used to be called Uncle Cliff's, but it just
that's disturbing.
It sounded a little like, To Catch a Predator. So they dropped the uncle and just put Cliffs. And I was, I did the shows there. Like they would do, the variety shows, the Broadway variety show. We had one year we did a walk through the decades. But I also had to be Coyote Cliff, which was the mascot of Cliff's Amusement Park. So I would walk around in this huge coyote costume that went so far, my eye holes were near his chest because he was very tall, and kids would punch him in the nuts, but that was really kind of this area for me. So that was my job for 3 summers growing up, and it was the first time I got paid to perform. So.
Now, wait, why did I think I might have dreamed this because, I might have had a glass of wine the other night. Well, it wasn't a Christian place, was it?
No, but it's an No. It's in Albuquerque. So maybe there was, no, I don't think there was any sort of Christian ride or messaging around it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. Not that
It doesn't seem completely out of the ordinary, though, because Albuquerque is well, I mean, Jesse went to Catholic school. A lot of his youth was very sprinkled with religion, but there's a theme park in Orlando that's called
the Holy Land or something like that.
Yeah, it's called the Holy Land, and you can go and I don't know, stand where Christ stood. It's the strangest. I'm just this. It's the strangest place. I don't know if it still exists, but
because I was raised Roman Catholic, but never did I hear that he was in Orlando.
Yeah,
I heard he was in Nazareth. I heard exactly. I never heard about Orlando, but hey, you know what? He's apparently everywhere, so he could be in Orlando, and he could be on Space Mountain. But
he had a place in Orlando. He had a place in Jerusalem and Orlando.
But no, wait, I did read that when you were a kid, there was some bullying going on, Jesse.
Oh
yeah, and that must have been rough.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously these kids knew more about me than I knew about myself because they would, I was obviously a gay kid, and I think
a redhead.
I was mostly being beat up because I was a redhead. It's so interesting though, because now that I've found success, all these people are coming out of the woodwork and on Facebook and talking about how I was one of their friends growing up. I'm we were not friends. I always told I had 3 friends growing up, I still talk to those 3 people, but beyond that, I was pretty much on my own until I came to New York.
Yeah, I have someone on Facebook who writes me all the time now and always is talking about how friendly we were. And I'm you hated me.
Yeah.
Why do you want to have, this is crazy. You didn't like me. You wrote something so weird in my high school yearbook, I still look at it and go, holy Toledo. But now apparently, yeah, whatever. Now, Justin, you're from Tarzana, California.
That's where I was born, yeah.
And you're a little younger than Jesse.
10 years, yeah.
Yeah, 10 years. 10 years and a Tony winner. 10 years and a Tony winner. Was your parents' attitude toward you being gay different than maybe Jesse's, or were you? Well, was it a different?
I had a hard time growing up when I was young, but when I was 14, I had cancer, which was obviously very traumatic and dramatic, and I went through a year of chemo and radiation. So by the time I got to high school, I missed freshman year because I was homeschooled. By the time I got to high school in 10th grade, I had such a new attitude of my life of just like, I'm going to be who I am and live my life because I'm here. And people were so kind to me after that. Like it could have been the cancer. It could have been a lot of things, but
it's one of the perks of cancer that no one talks about. Just,
Yes.
But I also didn't know I was gay. I wasn't out like Jesse was. Jesse's story always really inspires me because he's 10 years older than me, grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, was born in, the 70s. And like and went to Catholic school and was just never in the closet. And to me, it's something I always am so inspired by, his ability to have just wholly understood himself from day one. It took me a long time to figure things out.
Well, and that's why when you talk to people like, again, dropping names, my friend Harvey Firestein, I mean, the kind of bravo courage that someone like that had at 16.
Yeah.
A long time ago, saying,
Yeah.
You're going to respect me and I'm going to do it. And that's what I think is so amazing about what's going forward. Just even talking about, Cicely Tyson, who passed, today. And so, I mean, that's what's so great. And did that help you in terms of activism, Justin, do you think?
Yeah, I think my activism really was born. I can pinpoint exactly when it happened. I went to UCLA for undergrad, and then I went to law school thinking I'd do entertainment law. And then something happened where basically during the first Obama election, there was a proposition on the California ballot called Prop 8, which was the marriage proposition. And I had, been out of the closet, I had been dating people, and I suppose I'm a millennial, so I have that millennial attitude of just like, I'm going to get married. Of course I'm going to get married. There was no question in my mind that regardless of my sexuality, I was going to get married. I was going to marry the person that I loved. And so then to be told by my government of my state or the federal government that I can't be married, I was suddenly like, what? No, that's not how this works. And so it sparked activism in me in a way that and then of course seeing the juxtaposition of Barack, Mr. Obama being elected for the first time. This is a historic election. And then at the same time in what I presume to be the most liberal state, California, to have Prop 8 passed.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it made no sense. And, you come to find that like Prop 8 passed because it was confusing. You voted yes on 8 if you opposed marriage. So like,
right.
The semantics play. And then also we had, we on the proposition, I don't know how it is in New York, but in California, to put a proposition on the ballot, you can have people pay for it from wherever. So we had, unfortunately, influxes of cash coming in from Utah, from the Mormon Church, from places that really had no interest in California politics.
Yeah, I don't know how it works in New York, but I wouldn't be surprised if it works that way. New York being New York. But it's confusing and depressing. But through the American Foundation of Equal Rights, you were able to overturn it. And look, and now you're married. But we're going to get to that in a minute because, you met at a gym. Hello.
It's so funny because like when Justin was working for AFER, the American Foundation of Equal Rights. There was a lot of footage of them like on the steps of the Capitol. There was during the Supreme Court rulings. And when my character on Modern Family got married, they in the scene as Mitchell, the character I played in Modern Family, I was on the computer watching marriage equality happen, and they were using footage of AFER on the steps of the Supreme Court in Modern Family. So it was like I wasn't literally physically looking at Justin, but I was looking at like the AFER flags and like as my character, I was like, this is so weird. Like, and then to get married on the show, like I had 2 weddings in 1 year, and it was all very, very cool.
It's all very meta, darling.
Very
it's all
meta.
very meta. And by the way, if you're enjoying the show, and even if you're not enjoying the show, please consider tipping us.
Pay her to stop talking. Pay her to stop talking.
Yes, because we need to give money to the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation. I'm just telling you now, guys, one of my big missions, and of course, with the COVID situation, it's gotten much worse, and it is with the pulmonary fibrosis patients. People can't get oxygen.
Yeah.
People cannot get oxygen. It is my mission. It makes me crazy because I know what Ralph and I were very lucky. We were on every list and every this, and we worked so closely with New York Presbyterian. Ralph never missed oxygen. People are missing their oxygen. This is a shanda in our country that people cannot get oxygen. That is outrageous. So that's one of the big things that I'm really working toward with the PFF. Now, we have to go back to theater. We're leaving the Tony winner for a second. Jesse, you and I did a show called The Most Fabulous Story Ever Told.
That's right.
All right, Nick. So there's the cast. Look at the cast. Oh my God. Oh my God. Remember Orlando?
We do remember Orlando.
Oh,
Orlando was there was a lot of replacements that came in at the same time. Julie and I and Leah Delaria and Shannon Burkett. It was like a new wave of people coming to the show because some of the original cast members were leaving to do other things. And so I was part of that wave.
So much fun. But I do remember, of course, you had a total nude scene.
At the top of the show.
The top.
The character starts with basically a 3-page monologue where he's naked.
No, let's tell people it's full frontal nudity.
Full frontal nudity.
Do you have a photo of this?
Yeah. Where's that picture?
We did look. We did look. But we didn't find. But I do remember when my mother came backstage and I introduced you to her, she said, "Oh, I've seen a lot of you."
Yeah.
But really, Jesse, how is that? I mean, what was that like? Because come on, that's an intense situation.
The play was so funny.
Would you do it now?
Would I do it now? I would.
I mean, it's just so, at least then there wasn't cell phones and, it feels like so hard to do that now without it going viral.
Right. Well, even like, I'm part of the rehearsal, well, hopefully it's still going to happen, but Take Me Out, that Richard Greenberg play, there's a lot of nudity in that. And like all the guys are worried about, is this all going to end up on the internet?
Yeah.
It is. I found it to be very liberating. It was terrifying the first time. I remember because we had a put-in rehearsal, which is when the new actors kind of run the play with the actors who've been doing the play for a while. And, normally only the new actors do the costume and like the costume changes because the other actors don't need to do that. They have that all down. So I remember being on stage with Jay Getty, who played my partner, and he was completely like wearing his jeans and his t-shirt and maybe a hoodie, and I was 100% naked, just rehearsing the play with him. And I was like, at least take off your pants and make me feel a little bit more comfortable, because he also had to be naked in that scene eventually when we did it in front of an audience. But I do remember the first time I was in front of an audience doing the play, it wasn't until like after that scene that I really let it sink in that I was just nude in front of a whole bunch of strangers. But it was such a great play. It was never a question. There was never a question in my mind that I would not do the play because of the movie.
No, it was fantastic. But it is funny because I do remember like from the wings, because I played Rabbi Sharon. You realize, of course, this Catholic schoolgirl only plays Jews. I only play Jews. It's crazy, you know. And it's my joy. But I do remember thinking, like, you can't deny that there's a penis on stage.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't deny it. But on the same level, it's like, you don't really look. You're looking at me. I'm going to listen to what he's saying. But
yeah. I mean, Minetta Lane was also where the theater was that we did the play. It's a very intimate space.
That's small.
So, you know, the front row is right there.
Right there.
I do remember looking out into in either like the first or second row, there was like some creeper with binoculars.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
If you can't find it.
Yikes.
Yikes.
We do have a picture, and I just have to ask Justin as a young boy. Wait, let's bring in okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, wait a minute. Justin, that's the cutest little boy in the world.
So sweet.
Did you ever think about being an actor?
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I was a musical theater kid. I was in community theater. I went to UCLA for musical theater. I wanted
you
to.
did.
Actually, yeah. And then when I got to college, I just didn't want to struggle. I didn't want to be unemployed. I wanted to work. And so I was just confronted with the decision of like, do I have the guts to go after something that is so inconsistent and not a guarantee, or should I just go work? And I decided to go work.
Well, I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm going a little off script here. I'm going rogue. I had a very similar, because I came from a very working class background, and you just didn't like become an artist. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what? And when I was doing my theater company with Charles Bush, Vampire Lesbians of Sodom, I didn't actually want to commit to it full time because I was working on Wall Street, and I actually was afraid. And here's where I got, I'm going to get so teary. This is where I got so teary during The Inheritance. The reason I became a full-time actress is because my dear, dear girlfriend, McGann Robinson, who was dying of AIDS, made me promise on her deathbed that I would commit to being a full-time actress because she believed in my talent.
That's amazing.
She was 35 years old and she was dying, and she literally held my hand and said, I am begging you to finally do what you need to be doing. And that is why I became a full-time actress.
That's amazing.
That's incredible.
And that is the real story. And I don't talk about it very often, but since we brought up The Inheritance, when I saw that, it just brought it all back. And Tom Viola knew McGann, and he was holding me because I was a mess. But anyway, that's it. And I totally understand. We have to make these crazy choices. And, you know, Jesse and I decided to go the loser route, but it luckily it kind of worked out.
It paid off.
And yes, and thank God it worked out. Now, going back to Jesse for a second, you ended up doing this fantastic show, and you played a character, Leaf Coney Bear. I think there you are. There you are, the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. And guess what? Our tech director, who's obsessed with the show, Ruby, I think you were in the show at one point. Oh, there she is.
Oh, Ruby.
Ruby. Wait, let's bring Ruby back in for a minute. Ruby, come back in.
Hi, Julie.
Is that Logan? Are you Logan?
I was Logan when quite a few years ago when I was still in high school. We did a production, and they basically said, who's not afraid to act the fool? And I said, well, I lost my pride a long time ago. So it was great. It was so much fun, and that show is one of my favorites.
It's very, very special. Yeah. I love that.
I went to go Jesse. I begged Jesse to go with me to watch it at Lincoln Center because I never got to see Jesse in it.
Oh,
And so
okay.
we went and watched it on like the archives with the little headphones, and it was just the sweetest thing. I was so happy. And then they did a 10-year.
We did a reunion concert, a 10-year reunion concert to raise money for our stage manager who had just passed away, and we're raising money for her family. But it was so exciting to be doing it again. Sarah Salzberg was 9 months pregnant, playing Logan Schwarzenegger, and so the scene where like the Carl dad, who I played, like spill some Coke on the floor so that Barfi can't do his magic foot thing instead. Instead, we changed it where her water started breaking. Like, we had a contraption in the back that was like meant to like squirt water out. Looked like her water was breaking. It was just so weird and absurd. Like this 14-year-old kid, pregnant, full term, and like, we just rolled with it. Like, we can't hide it. Just roll with it.
The show, of course, always had 4 people from the audience coming up, and it must have been kind of amazing with the improv. Was there anything that you remember, Jesse, that like really blew your mind, or anyone that was particularly special? Or
well, we actually had a spelling bee champion.
Oh,
And we could not get them off, like because you're meant to eliminate these characters.
yes.
As the show can continue, and when the last speller is there, they get like a really hard word, and it's easy to get them off. We could not get this kid off, and the show basically ran like 10 minutes longer. The audience was eating it up because this adorable child was just spelling these impossible words. We were all breaking character. I think we finally made a word up.
A fake word.
And then said, "Oh, it's wrong."
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Now, were you? I know because he was one of our guests, the wonderful Mo Rocco. Was he there when you? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's great. I didn't get to. I don't think I ever did the show with him, but he's really fantastic. He actually was also one of the final choices for Mitchell on Modern Family. It was like between me and him, and like I know he was testing right alongside me. So
Oh well, you know what? We don't have to worry about Mo. We don't have to worry about Mo. He was on the show though, and at one point I have to say, we were talking, and he was telling me about his apartment or whatever, and then I asked about a little bit about his family, and he said, "Well, my mother lives upstairs," and I said, I wouldn't be telling people that, Mo. So now, Jesse, we ended up working together again.
Yes.
Together again. And by the way, Annalie Ashford's crew, a lot of the crew on her show is our crew.
Oh, interesting.
And they said to say hello to us.
Oh.
And Shamada, of course, was like, "We miss Julie Halston. She's the funniest girl in the world." And I was like, "Well, call me back, darling."
Yeah.
Yeah, call me back. Anyway, we have a little, I think we have a little something from the class. Look at us.
Look at you with your casserole.
At the beginning of lockdown, I had never watched The Class, and so I decided to watch the entire series, all 13 episodes?
No, it's 19 episodes.
19 episodes.
And it was so wonderful, you guys. It was so great. I loved it. It was so.
It really was. It was a great show. It has a big cult. It's like a cult.
Yeah.
And David Crane and Jeffrey Clarick, who created the show. I was on a Zoom call recently, and they were on the Zoom call as well for another friend of ours who was celebrating her 90th birthday, and she had made a documentary film. And it was all about plastic surgery. And I've had plastic surgery, and I talk about it openly, blah, blah. And she wrote that. So me, Jackie Hoffman, and David Crane and Jeffrey Clarick on a Zoom call, and we're all talking about plastic surgery. And I thought, now this is a pandemic. This is a pandemic.
Wait, I do remember Julie came in because Julie she wasn't in all the episodes, so she would travel back and forth from New York, and she would stay at the Oakwood, extended stay living, where all this particular Oakwood in California was in Burbank, and like all of the stage moms lived there with their kids, and just like, you know, the pool was always surrounded by like children like running lines with their caregivers. And Julie came into rehearsal for that week, and she looked really tired. She's like, I did not sleep at all. And I said, Julie, what happened? She goes, someone above me was moving furniture at 3 a.m. It sounded like they were dragging dead bodies across the floor. People are dying at the Oakwood. People are dying, and people's careers are dying at the Oakwood.
No, it's totally true. I swear to you, I swear there was a murder. And I did watch children, social services should have been called. And then the worst for me, the most terrible, and I'm going to name the name, but why was Garrett Morris living at the Oakwood? It made me sad. It made me sad. Oh my God.
When we did Spelling Bee in Los Angeles, a lot of the cast members stayed at that very Oakwood. And so I went back to it, and I had great memories.
It's still there.
It's still there. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll have to come out and visit.
It's there when you need it.
Yeah, next time you're working at Warner, I'm sure they'll put you right there.
Exactly. But here's my other story. You know, Jesse and I we were sort of new to the Hollywood scene, or as Joan Crawford, a tank town. That I love that she called it a tank town. We were kind of new, and this, young girl who probably is running the studios by now, because they're young, and then I call them the click clack girls. They're usually like PAs or whatever, but like the next time you see them, they're like Sherry Lansing or something. Like they're running Warner Brothers, so you have to be nice to them, even though they're horrible. This girl, I'll never forget it. We were like having our little cappuccino or on a break, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're in." She was saying something about hairspray, because I was doing hairspray at that point, and she said, "Oh my God, that's so good! You're doing the Broadway show of Hairspray." So let me ask you something: is it the same show every night? And I said, "Yes, it's written. The music is the same.
And memorized, yes.
And do the same show every night." And Jesse said, "Yes, when we do musicals or plays, it doesn't really deviate. You have to do what is written." And she just looked at us, and I remember she like tapped me on the shoulder, and she went, "Well, good for you." Good for you.
Good for you.
We have now been ghosted and patronized by a 19-year-old click-clack girl who is no doubt running so many classics. Yeah, so many classics now. Okay, she just dissed us. Good for you. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. Well, anyway, then you guys met while you got Modern Family, right?
Yeah, I had already shot basically the pilot of Modern Family. It already the first episodes had already aired.
Okay.
And Justin and I met like basically the day after the pilot aired.
Okay. And meanwhile, it could be the gayest meeting. I mean, you're in the gym.
We met at the gym. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It couldn't be more gay. And you, Justin, were dating someone else, correct?
I was. It's actually really funny. There was an article that was just written in some, I don't know, the gay Times.
Yeah. Written by that woman who patronized us, no doubt.
Yeah. And it was like, even though the headline was like, even though Jesse and Justin met at a gym, they're still together. I'm like, I think a gym is a perfectly normal place. I mean, it's a real life. We met we were fully clothed. It wasn't like in the sauna. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it was a respectable meeting, I think. But it's just so funny that whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, I picked up a man in the gym.
Well, I picked up a few.
It's kind of where you go. It's kind of where you go. Okay, so Jesse, Modern Family, it's a phenomenon. I remember watching that first episode, and I was actually laughing so hard, my stomach hurt. And I have to say, generally, I watch sitcoms and I go,
Yeah.
I'm happy for my friends, but boy, that was
Yeah.
I was literally doubled over. It changed your life, obviously. How did it affect your family? How did it affect your old friends, new friends? I mean, it's hard. I think tremendous success can be difficult. No?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's I always get upset when people say you've changed or you've changed. It's like, yes, we all have changed. Like we all should be changing and evolving. And I'm not the same person I was before this. It definitely impacted my life. My family's been great. They love the show. They, were really supportive of it. And my friends that have been my good friends that I already had, like, it didn't change those relationships at all. I didn't feel that there was any jealousy. I have really good people around me. So I feel like everyone was very supportive of me.
Good.
It was great. And it continues to be great. Yeah.
I do remember we were flying back to New York together one time after the class. And it was so great. And you were sort of taking care of me because I always need care. And I was pulling things out of and I pulled out Dynel wigs and falsy bras and like whitening teeth. I mean, it was just, I was pulling out and you were laughing so hard and you were like, this is what I love about you, that you just pulled out like falsies, teeth whitener, and like Dynel wigs.
Yes.
And I thought, that's who we are.
It's like, those, when like Us Weekly does like, let's take a peek in like Selma Hayek's handbag. And
exactly.
It's like, this is the coral lipstick I use. These are my sanitizing wipes. Julie has wigs and teeth whiteners and like a whoopee cushion.
No, I pulled out false tits.
Yeah.
Let's be clear here.
You've stolen them from like the class or something.
Yeah. I just want to ask Ruby. Ruby, does anyone have any questions for these two? They might not be. We might not have any viewers. Maybe no one's watching. I don't know. Ruby. Where's Ruby?
She's laughing.
Oh, not even Ruby's watching anymore.
They all left the building.
I'm here. It wouldn't let me click back on for some reason. I was in like the producer tab of StreamYard and it wouldn't let me click back on. We honestly, Julie, this show has been so great and people have been just commenting mostly about spelling bee actually. Okay. And also just saying, I mean, I'm scrolling through everything. We can ask for questions though, because people send things very fast on this show. So,
yes. So if you have any questions for them, I just want you to feel free to ask questions. But I also want to talk about Tie the Knot.
Right. How
did that come about? I know the two of you got together. You obviously decided, let's commit to each other and let's commit to doing some good. One of the things, of course, I love doing as a Broadway person and as a widow is raising money for my charity, Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation. You guys decided on Tie the Knot. How did that become?
Right. Well, I mean, I wanted to do something I wanted a foundation. I wanted to raise money for something I cared about. And it was in the, when Justin was just saying, we were in the depths of marriage equality, trying to get passed, and it was only legal in like 13 states. And we're like, well, let's do a tie launch and a bow tie company, and like all the proceeds will go to our foundation, and we'll farm it out to people who are in the trenches fighting for marriage equality. This is really honestly all Justin's idea. Like I was just like, he's the brains of the relationship, and I'm just
the Tony winner.
Yeah, the Tony winner and lawyer. It was his good idea. So, but we've now raised over $1 million for LGBTQ rights with just the sale of bow ties. Where we always said that we wanted to be put out of business when marriage equality was legal in all 50 states, and then when it was legal, we decided, okay, well, let's keep raising money for these rights that we fought so hard for. We need to like now work to keep them. So.
You can, being a queer person in 25 states, you can get married on a Friday and fired on Monday just for being gay.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of work to do.
I think there's more than a lot of work. I think we're, and again, I really, really hope and pray that people realize we are in a very bad situation right now in our country. I mean, the fact, and I'm just going on record, but the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene is still where she is, to me, is so troubling, so upsetting. Why that woman is not being run out of town right now is a shanda of the highest order. So
no, it's true.
It really is.
Yeah, and I mean, just to remind people that Katie Hill, the very short-lived Congresswoman Katie Hill, who was shamed out of Congress for a sex scandal for having a three-way or something, which was all consensual. You know, whatever you do in your personal life, fine, but like, you know, here we have this woman who's actively calling for her opponents to be executed, and yet she's still in Congress. It seems very troubling.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't care if you're wrangling the cats in a three-way. I mean, really, you know,
the cat is not there.
Exactly.
Really? Did you love the Cats film?
What, darling?
Did you love the Cats film?
Oh,
I want to say that I loved it.
Oh, no. I have to say, I think I watched it at like 4 a.m. Remember when the pandemic first started and like you were watching Netflix every 5 seconds? It was like 4 a.m. I felt I was on acid again.
Yeah.
I really did. We're receiving some tips, which is so lovely. And thank you guys again, Venmo, PayPal, let's put that up. Ruby, does anyone have any questions regarding spelling bee? I don't know if they do, or comments.
We just got a question, not spelling bee, but theater related. Somebody wants to know, what is your best advice for anyone about to start the theater college audition process?
Oh, I say run and don't.
That was my instinct as well.
No, but really, seriously.
Oh gosh. I mean, what would my advice be? I always say that, you know, don't try and be like anyone else. Don't try to fit into a mold. Your individuality is your greatest trait, and celebrate that.
And it really is true. And it may take a while, but ultimately it's all going to be you anyway. The minute I tried to be something else, a disaster. And it was really Charles Bush who said, you know, you're afraid of being the loudmouth blonde that you are. I'm going to write for you, the loudmouth blonde. And look what happened. Do you know what I mean? A career happened. Justin, you were asked to be on the board of the Human Rights Campaign. We have a wonderful picture of you. And I'm just there you are. Look at you. Look at you.
Handsome.
Remember when we used to get dressed up? Well, Julie, you're dressed up. Remember wearing tuxedos? That was fun.
It's going to happen again, darling. So, and I just wanted to just go on record as saying thank you for all that you're doing. You also have your own company now, Hawkins Makita. Let's bring Jim back in because he wants to ask you about that. Jim.
I do. I have so many questions. First of all, most importantly, is where do we find the bow ties?
The bow ties you can go to our foundation website, tietheknot.org, and you'll get linked to our various items you can purchase for equality there.
Perfect. That was my big question du jour. But I do want to know about Hawkins Makita. I understand that it mixes entertainment with political activism. Oh, look, there you are.
Yeah, that's me and my business partner, Todd Hawkins, who was also my best friend and college roommate. We met at UCLA together. So we work at the intersection of entertainment and philanthropy. So we help, sort of in the way that I took Jesse's interest and his voice and distilled it into an organization like Tie the Knot that felt accessible and in his tongue-in-cheek nature. We do that for other folks and work with influencers and pairing them with organizations. So that's sort of the work that I do. And it's been, obviously it's in real time morphing and changing because of the needs of what's going on. And the last 4 years, we had a really incredible sort of revival of the work because so many people were interested in in fixing things. So now, as we move forward, we'll see how things go. But it's fun work, and it's all based in activism, which is really what I'm most passionate about.
And do the influencers come to you, or do you go to them? Are you DMing people, or how does it come about?
So it depends. Some folks come to us with an idea. For instance, Beth Bears from Two Broke Girls comes to us and says, "I'm really interested in equine therapy for sexual assault survivors and the power of equine therapy." And so we then distill that into some sort of either original foundation, or if somebody's already doing the work out there, we'll go and partner her with the organization. And then on the other side, companies and nonprofits come to us and say, we have these campaigns and we're interested in entertainment figures who would be willing to uplift these campaigns. And so we strategically sort of pair them and help.
One of Justin's first clients was actually Cyndi Lauper in the True Colors campaign.
There you go.
Of course.
Fantastic. And they were like, they wanted more of a West Coast presence, and they asked Justin to help them out. And so he was, they were clients of Justin's for a few years.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
We did a big benefit for True Colors with Cindy and Harvey at Birdland.
Yeah, it was great. We do have a modern family.
We just have to tell us one quick story about Cyndi Lauper, because we sat behind her the year that Kinky Boots won. And after I got to present her award for best music.
Music, right.
For best music. And so then she gets back to her seat and she turns around and looks at us. She goes, "So I guess we're a hit." And then after the ceremony was over and people were standing up and leaving, she looks at us. She goes, "We're having an after party at Ruby Foo's. Come."
It's so her. It's so her. We do have a modern family question. I don't know what Ruby will let us know what that is.
I'm coming back on. Julie, I'm flying in and out a lot in this show. You keep me on.
That's all right, darling.
So the question is, was there a scene on Modern Family that you couldn't get through without breaking? Also, do you have an all-time favorite line from the show?
I love when Mitchell says, "No, my God." I really wanted that to become like a catchphrase, like, "How you doing? No, my God." There is the very first Halloween episode we did was, I think, in our first or second season. And it's one of the greatest, I think, television episodes of all time. But just watching Ed O'Neill deliver lines dressed as a gargoyle could not keep a straight face. He's so deadpan already. And then watching him in this gargoyle contraption on his head, just cranky. It was just so funny.
Also, Sofia Vergara would make them laugh incessantly.
She would say, she just had a hard time. A lot of the brilliance that came out of Sophia's mouth was not written. It was just her messing things up naturally. I remember what's the story with the she had to say, "Manny, why are you hanging upside down?" And that's all she had to say. "Manny, why are you hanging upside down?" And she didn't know that the phrase "upside down" was very confusing to her. So she would rehearse, "Manny, why are you hanging upside down? Why are you hanging upside down? Why are you hanging upside down?" So she'd rehearse. They call action. She goes, "Manny, why are you hanging sunny side up?"
Wow.
And we're like, "What?
Was she Marilyn Monroe on drugs? I mean, what was going on?
English is not her first language, and it's getting worse and worse the longer she stays in this country. And she's the first to laugh at herself too.
She's such a good sport.
And wait, is she still married to Joe Mangano or whatever?
Yes, we introduced them.
They are.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's a good match.
Thank you.
Good.
I would think that even gay men wouldn't mind watching them sleep together.
Oh.
No, of course.
Right? I mean, they are two of the most beautiful people on planet Earth.
It feels like a sister to me now. Like, that's just weird. Like, I remember at the very beginning, Eric Stone Street was like, "She's the hottest woman I've ever seen. She's not doing anything for you?" And I was like, "I'm not sexually attracted to her. No, she's very, very beautiful. Like, I do not take that away from her. But like, no, Eric, I'm not getting anything."
No, but I'd be interested in the mechanics the same way I'd be interested in like watching Rihanna. You know, like I just want to see it.
I just like the mechanics. The mechanics.
Okay.
So romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say we've now devolved. Although this is
We
the
know
part
what
of the
happened.
conversation I love the best. Well, I will say this though, because for a straight woman, there are a lot of straight women who go like, "How do men really?" And I'm like, "Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it. The mechanics. It's all beautiful to me. All of it is beautiful." I know. The mechanics of it all. Two women, two men, both.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a woman who went to the penis museum. Come on.
Basically, Julie wants to watch you have sex. It doesn't matter who you are. She just wants to be in there.
Send in tapes. Send in tapes. Not to me. To Julie.
Porn to Julie Halston.
Oh my God, we could do like a whole Robin Bird late show.
Oh, Robin Bird.
Kind of a thing.
So good.
Guys, we've already gotten past, ouch, new show, The Mechanics of Sex. Ooh, the new show, Libby, there you are. Guys, we've already gone past our limit, but there's no limit, really. I can't
What,
tell
are they
you-
going to throw us off the network, Julie?
Yeah, exactly. I hope you had fun. Did you have fun?
It's just so good to see you both. And Ruby. Ruby.
I miss you. I really do. I can't wait to travel again.
Yeah.
I want to come to LA. I want you to come to New York. I want to get back on sets. I want to do things. I did a movie with Charles Bush, and even though it was great to do this movie, we did this fabulous independent with Margaret Cho and Andre DeShields. But it was so COVID safe. It was crazy. It wasn't, no socializing. But then I had to do a scene where I'm in bed with Tim Daly. I was like, what's safe about this? What's happening here? What? But no one got sick, thank God. I just like saying that I was in bed with Tim Daly.
Yeah, I know all the fun's taken out of it.
Yeah. We can't hang out. So here's how we hang out. And listen, guys, this was so fantastic. You're both such remarkable and superior humans and talents. And I love you both. And I hope I can actually see you in person.
I know, soon enough, for sure.
Yeah. And get the shots when you can.
Oh, we will.
Right when we can.
The minute they call, I'll be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Thank you for asking us to do this. Love you both.
Wait.
Yeah.
Before we go, Beckett, we have a picture of Beckett.
Oh,
boy.
Oh, come on.
Come on.
That was
Come on.
moments after we met him.
Yeah, that was like 13 seconds into our experience.
Yeah.
Oh my
my
God.
In Las Vegas. We had to go to Las Vegas for the birth.
No, really?
During a pandemic.
In
Yeah.
the middle of July.
In the middle of July in a
It was
pandemic.
119 degrees.
We only ate outside. I remember eating sushi the day before Beckett was born.
Wow.
Outside in 90-degree heat.
It was hotter.
Oh,
He was worth it.
it was
It
worth
was
it.
worth
Yeah.
it.
But it's all worth it. Oh my God. Well, guys, thank you. I love you.
Love you.
All right.
So good to see you.
Bye.
Much love.
And Julie, next week, don't forget to mention next week.
Oh, guess what? Thank you for reminding me. Guess who we have? Hello, Queen Leslie Margarita.
Oh, it's going to be good.
Oh, it's all good. You know what? It's all good.
They are good. This
It's
is fun. Julie Lynn, how fun is this?
It's so fun. And I do get to see people I love. Oh my God.
And
I love
isn't it interesting that even though you know Jesse so well, when you work with people or you know people, you don't ask them questions about their life necessarily. I mean, this is such a great forum for really finding out about our friends that we don't know everything about them. So it's such a
so
cool,
wonderful. We have loyal viewers. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful to you, Jim. I'm so grateful to Ruby. Please come back next week. Feel free to tip us, Venmo, PayPal once more. And I love it. And Queen Leslie Margarita next week, that should be amazing. So
the best.
goodbye, darlings. Goodbye.
What more is there to say?